Big thank you to the Junior Rotax contingent. We'll see them in a couple of weeks' time at Motorsport Arena Mülsen in eastern Germany. Let's have a look at the grid for our final for Senior Rotax. So, pole position being occupied once again by Linus Hansen, the reigning and defending champion. He starts P1 ahead of Vincent France, who did the clean sweep yesterday with 2 heat victories. Lucas Hartmann and Luca Thiel round out the top 4 positions ahead of Bennett Arends in the 327 and Luca Köster in the 366. Max Verstappen in the 341, Finchdiak in the 339, Max Busch in the 313 and Mark Lupfer in the 308 round out the top 10 positions. Adrian Dobrich, Lucas Thompson, Giuseppe Fico, Jan Heinen, Denny Bount, Morris Schmeis, Kian Agasade, Lasse Reinhardt, Leander Luke Schneider, Andrei Petropoulos, Lukas Vervagenak, Finley Hamfrecht, Vivian Michel Haidt, Mats Johan Overhoff, Louisa Kehler, Bastian Barlage, Darius Nitu and Philip Keskik running out the 28 strong drivers. 14 minutes plus an additional lap to go in their season. After this, we will in their race weekend. My apologies there. Before we go into our last 3 races of the weekend. As you can see, the sunshine is definitely not showing itself that well. In the fact that there is a bit more overcast. It's 25 degrees Celsius, 49% humidity, and there is an easterly 8-kilometre-an-hour wind here in Wackersdorf. So we wait with bated breath to see what happens over the next 14 minutes plus an additional lap. So it's down to Henson and France to control the pace. Into the tram lines we go. The revs start to build. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights out. We're off and racing. And once again, a good start from Linus Hansen as Lucas Hartmann now takes second. Bennett Arends up into third. There's now Vincent France trying to muscle his way through. Luca Thiel rounding out the top 5 ahead of Max Wirtz in 6th place. Max Busch and Luca Köster round out the top 8. Bastian Barlage has made his way up into 25th position in the early foray. But as always, here at Rotax Max Challenge Germany, things are rather racy and things get frantic. But the good thing is that now these drivers will start pushing. So Linus Hansen looking to do the double here today at Wackersdorf to start his title defense in earnest here in Bavaria. So across the line to complete lap number 1. And Linus Hansen has a 0.66 lead over Lucas Hartmann. There's Bennett Arends ahead of Vincent France, who's looking to get through. The number 330 up the inside to take 3rd position through turn 4. And with them goes Luca Thiel. Max Wirtz and Max Busch rounding out the top 7. Luca Köster 8th. Giuseppe Fico and Finchdiak round out the top 10. Jan Heinen and Kian Agasade round out the top 14 positions. As Denny Bount drops a couple of places down to 15th, and he's ahead of the 301 of Kart Performance Racing's Andrei Petropoulos. Darius Nitu up to 19th, ahead of Lukas Vervagenak. Louisa Kehler and Philip Keskik now ahead of Bastian Barlage, who drops down to stone dead last. 12 minutes and 16 seconds plus an additional lap still to go. Arends staying in 4th and is fractionally ahead of Luca Thiel, who looks to banzai up the inside, and he does, and he clashes. Oh my goodness, and Bennett Arends is probably, he's nearly had, well, he had one hand, his helmet in one hand, as if to say, what on earth was that from Luca Thiel? Luca Thiel thought there was a move going there. Now he's behind quite a few other drivers, which probably includes the likes of Lucas Thompson. And I think that might have been Giuseppe Fico in the 394 that has gotten past. So Bennett Arends was on course for a top 4 finish. And Luca Thiel just literally banzaied up the inside of him. And all of a sudden, it was too close for comfort. And Bennett Arends was on the receiving end. I'm sure that Luca Thiel will be looked at in terms of what's happened there. Normally the race control decisions here in Rotax Germany are very, very swift and decisive. So now what that means is Bennett Arends now rounds out the top 9, because that allowed Luca Thiel, Max Busch, Luca Köster, Finstiak and Giuseppe Fico to get ahead and complete the top 8 positions. But in the meantime, keep your eyes on Vincent France. He's trying to close on Lucas Hartmann, and he's actually gotten past him. So Vincent France was just under 2 tenths behind. And what actually happened, I'm just going to have a quick look back, that after Arends' unfortunate coming together with Luca Thiel, it was a case of Vincent France had the momentum and he managed to get past very, very quickly. And now the battle for the lead really quite clearly on. As you can see that Vincent France and Lucas Hartmann are closing on Linus Henson. Vincent France, if he wins this race on countback, he'll win the weekend and become the championship leader by default. So you can just see now that between the top 3 last time, it was just over 9.9 tenths of a second. Luca Thiel is about 1.5 seconds off of this battle. And there is the 3:27. Bennett Arends has gotten a move on. He's started to move forward. And I know for a fact that revenge is a dish best served cold. But what he will want to do is make sure that he can get past Luca Thiel with a clean, effective overtake. Vivian Michel Hayet, unfortunately, has parked the kart, the number 328 from Voik Motorsport, out of the race on lap number 4. A real shame for Hayet on that particular occasion, but we'll see Vivian back with us at Musen in a couple of weekends' time. So Luca Köster, Giuseppe Fico and Adrian Dobric round out the top 10 positions. Mannix Wirtz has actually dropped to the top, well, to 15th position, and is just under 3 tenths ahead of Andrei Petropoulos in the number 301. Darius Nitu seems to be having a better race this time around and is just 0.2 off of the 301. So again, it's getting a little bit closer. Giuseppe Fico closing on Luca Köster. And Luca Köster has also been doing some work with the likes of Bjorn Niemann at kartmagazine.de. So they've been doing he's been doing a lot of testing quite recently, but he's also been doing a lot of remote data engineering, so coaching drivers. So Luca Köster, in his own right, very, very well accomplished as we head into the last 88 minutes and 15 seconds plus an additional lap. Linus Henson's lead is only just over half a second, but can Vincent France close in? Well, he can, and sets the fastest lap of the race, goes nearly a tenth quicker than Linus Henson on that particular occasion as they go through turn 4. Now into the left at 5 before the left-hand hairpin here at turn 6. So what is getting even more interesting is how quickly will Vincent France close in. Oh, we've got a mechanical black flag. And I think I spotted it was the 323, if I'm very much mistaken. Finley Hamfrecht has got what we call in the United Kingdom the meatball flag. It's basically the mechanical black flag, so a black flag with an orange circle in it, as the leaders are about to cross the line once again to complete lap number 8. And it is, no, it's the 383. Denny Bount in 20th position as now Vincent France goes for the lead and gets it. Nicely done by Vincent France through turn number 4 on lap number 9. And Linus Henson, I think the move was going to happen. So we will be down to 26 competitors because Denny Bount has to park that car within 3 laps of being shown the mechanical black flag. So Lasse Reinhardt now promoted up to 20th position as Vincent France was hoping that he might get away from Linus Henson. But Henson, very, very well accomplished, will start closing in, and look how that has happened. Right, the 323 of Finley Hamfrecht has got a 5-second time penalty. That's not really going to cause him any too much distress because he's in 27th position at the moment. But Linus Henson was getting close to Vincent France going through turns 3 and 4 as Denny Bout is currently in the process of parking the 383 Tony Kart entry, and that means that his race has come to an abrupt and early end. The sunshine starts breaking through the clouds once again, and Linus Henson closing in on Vincent France for the lead. So now we go on to double digits. Lap 10 in the books. Now on to lap 11. 0.2 of a second separates the two leaders. As Henson was close. Decided not to chance it. Going through turn 4. Into the left at 5 before the hairpin at turn 6. Now into the triple right. 7. Turn 8. Now into turn 9 before the left at 10. Just over 5 minutes to go in this race. And Linus Henson is absolutely wringing the neck of the 333. That Rotax Max Evo engine being pushed to within an inch of the side walls of the cylinder. And he is closing in on Vincent France. Vincent France, 3 laps to go. Clocked the fastest lap of the race. Linus Henson goes 1/100th quicker last time around, but look how close he's getting. Through into turns 3 and 4. Henson is, look at his gaze. He is locked not just on the racing line, but onto the target in his crosshairs. Vincent France knows now that he has got a fight, and it's a big one. It's with the reigning and defending champion. And by any stretch of the imagination, Linus Henson's run to the title last season was no fluke. He did it on pure pace, performance. No one, not even Luca Thiel, had a real answer for the 333. They come out of the final corner, just under 4 minutes to go. Lap 13. And Henson now 2.5 tenths behind. He gets really close into the braking zone into turn 4. He needs to be closer through turn 3. But I think what he's waiting for is when he knows he's right up close and personal. To Vincent France. And then can strike whilst the iron is hot. And I would say probably with about a minute or so to go is when Henson will know that that is the time to go for broke. Risk versus reward. You can see how close he is now. Coming out of turn 12, as Denny Bout, second confirmed for retirement on lap number 9 with the mechanical black flag. Louisa Keller gets past Lucas Thompson. The gap between first and second still 2.5 tenths. Linus Henson needs to be closer, and he got closer through turn 3. Look how close he was to the back bumper of Vincent France through that right-hand hairpin at turn 4. Now the time is counting down. A look at the real run. 5-second time penalty for Lucas Thompson coming his way. We've just seen that on the digi flag on the gantry. So Lucas Thompson will be unceremoniously thrown a curveball and will end up at the back of the finishing order. Just over 2 minutes remaining. Henson gets his head down. Exactly 2 tenths. He needs to be 1.5 tenths or closer. Well, 2 tenths is the window of opportunity. And Henson is waiting. Just seeing his driving style. He's calm. He's composed. He doesn't need to thread the eye of the needle. He just needs to keep close enough to Vincent France and see if there is a mistake coming. And it looks like we've got another mechanical black flag. And I think this is the 323. I'm just going to wait until it comes into the view of the camera very, very shortly. So they come out of the final corner. And let's see. It is the 323. of Finley Hamfrecht that gets a mechanical black flag. And now we go into the last 60 or so seconds. And in many respects, Linus Henson is just waiting. It's not a case of if, it's when he's going to strike. And Vincent France is trying to anticipate that happening. Maurice Schmeis now rounds out the top 15 ahead of Bastien Barrage, who top 15, Bastien Barrage completes the top 20, having gotten past Leander Luke Schneider. Maurice Schmeis is about 2.5 tenths off of Andrei Petropoulos. As now we're going to go on to the penultimate lap here at Wackersdorf in this race for Senior Rotax. And the gap now 2.5 tenths of a second between Vincent France and Linus Henson. Henson now looking for the move, and he's gone for it. And he waited, bided his time, and he went, you know what, the time is now. And he struck. Absolutely well-timed. You need to be within 2.5 tenths of a second. And Henson was on that window, that envelope. And effectively, what that can mean now is that Vincent France could do exactly the same. We're going to find out on the final lap, because now Vincent France no longer leads. He's led for most of it. And Linus Henson was the one that was sitting pretty in second position until that absolute power move overtake that we just saw out of the final corner. Last lap board. Henson takes the look over his right shoulder. He's just over 2 tenths ahead of Vincent France, who is now trying to face his biggest rival this weekend, and Vincent France looks to really put himself in the title fight. But watch out behind. Lucas Hartmann has been closing, and there's Luca Thiel and Max Busch. It's going to be a run to the line here in Senior Rotax, but Linus Henson did the job on the penultimate lap of the race. Through turn number 4, he's got some daylight at the end of the tunnel, as now Hartmann up the inside of Vincent France on turn 11, through on the final lap of the race. France trying to counter-attack and get the switch back. He does so through turn 12. He's going to power past the 309, but out of the final corner as Luca Thiel clashes with Hartmann through the final corner. Hartmann backwards into the barriers. Linus Henson celebrates with both hands off the wheel, but Lucas Hartmann out of the race after a clash, courtesy of Luca Thiel, eliminating both drivers on the spot on the final corner of the race. But it is Linus Henson that wins the double, and he consolidates a championship lead here in Wackersdorf and heads to Mulsanne in 2 weeks' time as the championship leader. Oh my goodness. That last lap was intense, but let's have a look at the results. Linus Henson winning by 7 tenths of a second ahead of Vincent France. Max Busch in third, Finn Stiak in fourth, Bennett Ahrens, Adrian Dobrich in sixth place ahead of Jan Heinen, Giuseppe Fico, Mark Lupfer. Luca Thiel managed to get going because he didn't tag the barriers like Lucas Hartmann did. And I'm sure that's going to be investigated post-race. Mark Lupfer, Luca Thiel, Maddox Wirtz, Kian Agasade, Maurice Schmeis, Darius Nitu, Andrei Petropoulos, Lasse Heinhardt, Lukas Vavagenak, Luca Köster, Bastien Barrage, Leander Luke Schneider, Mats Johan Overhoff, Philip Kesik, then Luisa Kehler, Lucas Thompson, Lucas Hartmann denied third place and unfortunately eliminated on that final corner tussle. The main thing is I see Lucas Hartmann up and out of the kart. That to me is the main thing. Finley Hamfrecht out through a mechanical black flag on lap 16. Same for Denny Berndt on lap 9, with Vivian Michel Hyatt retiring on lap number 3.